Welcome back into Gaughan Racing. Jeff Motley back in studio this
Welcome
week.
back, sir. Welcome back.
Glad to be back.
Hey, nice tan, everything,
I got the Cabo tan.
There you go.
Going here. My partner in crime, Brendan Gaughan here. Beautiful South Point studio. Cabo's beautiful. South Point's beautiful. Two different kinds of beautiful. I'm not going to get a sun. I don't know. These lights are pretty bright. I might get a suntan sitting in here too. So you're all well groomed and.
Well, I got a nice shirt on today. I got a little Las Vegas Super Bowl hat on. Just kind of. We're our own network again, and the guys on Sirius XM, they can't see. We got faces for radio anyway, so this is only the people that unfortunately have to watch us. Want to slug through watching us on the YouTube thing and all that. And
those poor people have to listen to us once a week on Sirius XM. So,
and last week we got to listen to Frank Nicotero filling in for you.
I'm not as funny as Frank. I will never be able to be as funny as Frank.
And honestly,
I do know that Denny Hamlin got wrecked at the end of the race at Richmond. I hear Frank struggled with that one a little bit.
But I'll tell you what, though, after 1 week, Frank almost caught you for the season. So, yeah. He beat you last week. He was 3 units to the positive. You were -1. So, and you know why Frank was 3 units to the positive? Who'd he listen to?
The guy who's about. Are you just going to continue to raise your Mendoza line?
So I'm at 60.
Are you going to set it at 100 now?
I'm
why not just go for
units.
The gusto?
So what I might try to do now is just stay even because 62 is a great number.
Oh, I see what you did there.
See? Punchlines with Brendan Gaughan.
Wow. Well, Frank, he might have no job security here pretty soon. I mean, you'll be on all morning long.
I'll be here all week. And I'll be at Daytona this weekend, Friday at least. With the Mighty 62 because the Mighty 62's back, baby.
You're literally all right. So we are in Las Vegas today.
Yes,
and you're going to be in Las Vegas on Saturday. But in the between, you're going to make a little quick trip over to Daytona.
Quick trip to Daytona to help the Mighty 62 get through Tech. Darren Shaw and the whole beard. We got Parker Ratzloff this week, not Fast Pasta, and so Parker's going to drive for us. I'll be there helping in Tech, help get through qualifying, hang out with Riley Herbst for the Xfinity race, and then. Troy Herbst and I, we have basically a funeral on Saturday for Butch Dean, a guy that anybody in Vegas that's off-road community, Butch Dean was the greatest. Had Valley Performance. My father drove for him. I drove for him. Troy, all of us have driven for Butch at one point or another in this town if you race in the desert. And his funeral Saturday. So Troy and I have to get back. So I asked Troy what his plans were, and he said, rain or shine. If Riley races or not, he's coming back Friday. So I'm doing a red eye tonight to Daytona.
So you got to ride back.
I got the red eye with 186 of my best friends on Delta tonight, and then a red eye back with Troy with 8 of my best friends.
Nice. Well, it's nice to have friends.
Nice to have friends. That's right.
Friends in high places, right? Well, this past weekend we were at Michigan. We didn't. By the way, one little piece of news. We talked. I know I wasn't here last week, but the Austin Dillon, his first appeal has been denied, which I don't think was a really big shock. So his last thing is to go to basically the final appeals officer. Mm-hmm. Can't remember the guy's name, but I believe he's the president of Langley Speedway in Virginia.
It's something like that.
Is the guy. So I don't know if that's happening. It's probably going to happen beginning of next week. It's got to happen before we get into the final regular season race.
Here's
next
the thing,
week.
And it matters to bettors because this is going to change some odds and championships. This is going to change how some people race at the end of the the last 2 races here. So it matters to bettors what happens. It doesn't matter. Austin still gets the win. So your tickets from Richmond still cash Austin Dillon on the W. Personally, now look, we all know. I'm not media through and through, right? I'm me. I'm the clown that is me.
And you also used to drive for RCR, Richard Jones Racing, and Austin's kind of like a little brother.
Love the family, love them all. I agree and disagree. The thing that hurts him the most is what the spotter said, and that's Batman. You know the Batman, my spotter forever. One of my best friends, my business partner was my spotter. The fact these guys don't have these code words in place or don't have, cheeseburgers. That was ours back in the day for takeout because cheeseburgers are takeout. And that was our code word for it. But the fact that's the biggest piece of damning evidence. And I saw what they said, this is the elite level. This is what Deloach and the appeals board said, that this is the elite level of NASCAR. We expect more out of our drivers. And absolutely. What Austin did with Joey, and I love how everybody goes, oh, he was 5 car length. He was 1 car length back, and I will go to my grave saying, Joey Logano, you have fault in that. Joey said, I had such a lead, I just went into the corner easy and didn't think he was going to get me. If you didn't think that Austin Dillon or any driver in that position is going to do anything humanly possible to get that win to make the playoffs when you know that it is millions of dollars on the line. You know it's a spot in the playoffs on the line. You know all these things. If you honestly didn't think that you're going to just lazy drive into that corner, oh, I cleared him enough, he couldn't get bull blank. Carl Edwards did the original video game move at Kansas, 8 years ago now, 10 years ago now, full well knowing he couldn't make it. Tony Stewart used to have the joke of the 8 tires are better than 4. There is no way.
Well, I think Larson tried
Joey.
that at Darlington too a couple years ago.
And I blame Joey for saying, well, I just kind of did an easy. Then you're an idiot for not driving in hard and going, I'm not going to give him a chance. You cannot give that guy a chance. And Joey gave him a chance. And guess what? Austin took it. The Denny Hamlin part is the part that's the problem in this penalty. And there's SMT data that shows that it wasn't an intentional move on Austin's part. But there
your
was
spotter is yelling, wreck him.
And the other thing is, though, there was no intent on moving away and not causing the wreck. So that's in the hands of the driver. Personally, if that was me for that situation, Denny'd been picking concrete out of his teeth also if I was driving. I'm sorry. It's worth too much. It's worth the risk.
Well, and I think you talk about the bettors. I mean, one of the things now going into Daytona, I mean, this is the race. Look, I think most everybody is expecting even this final appeal to be denied. Yeah. So I think we're looking at the standings. I think that's what we're going to have. But you're right. I mean, this is the race coming up. So before we get to Daytona, though, let's talk about last week.
Finish it up.
And we've been talking all year about Kyle Larson and Denny Hamlin, William Byron. One guy we really hadn't talked about that much, I'm telling you right now, he may be the championship favorite, Tyler Reddick. I mean, he was the guy to beat. He owned it at Michigan this past weekend. He is now the points leader. So that 15 bonus points, if he can hang on to that for the next 2 weeks, and we know he's going to be good at Darlington.
Well, look, Tyler Reddick is great. All season long, he's been good. He had a rough start to the season. 23-11 had a rough start. He's been great the rest of the season. He's got the point lead by, where is he now? Because Kyle Larson had such a bad day. He's 10 points over Chase Elliott, the guy that we've been joking all year that we didn't realize was the point leader. And Kyle Larson is way back now. Kyle Larson actually has fallen back to 4th behind Denny Hamlin. So, I mean, that's what happens when you spin out on your own and early in the race and take out half the field. There you go. So it's definitely going to be a tight one coming out. And Daytona, Jeff Motley's favorite word is
crapshoot.
There you go.
Crapshoot.
So it's going to be interesting this week at Daytona.
Well, let's take a look at what Tyler Reddick did for our bettors this week. He was plus 700 to win. He was plus 285 for a top 3. His head-to-head with Denny Hamlin, a plus 105. He won Group A at plus 275. He also brought Toyota home at a plus 130. And he has also seen his championship odds drop all the way to 8-1. And you want to know the honest truth? I think that's still a value at 8-1. And I think that's one to go and maybe potentially jump on. I don't know.
Nope.
Looking at the field, some guys had some really good runs that were not expected. Ty Gibbs had struggled a little bit.
The 1 week I don't take Ty Gibbs for the top 3.
Top 3. Kyle Busch had a chance to win. Great pit strategy. Gets a 4th. The RFK cars go back-to-back 5th and 6th. And how about our buddy Zane Smith? Where did Zane Smith come from?
I don't know where that came from.
And he finishes 7th.
That was a fantastic finish. And Daniel Suarez, much-needed run.
2 weeks in a row. 2 weeks in a row. Ran really well at Richmond.
How about go down to top 10?
Carson Hocevar.
Remember our start of the season?
Won our buddy Frank Nicotero a group last week.
Won Frank the group because of his what was it, Ann? His best friend, college roommate, sister's brother, or whatever. It was like his best friend from growing up or whatever. It was Hosevic or something, and so he picked Hocevar. So Frank,
that's like somebody picking the fantasy football team because they like the uniform colors.
And guess what? They kick your butt half the time in fantasy football.
Yeah. Well, he probably will. Yeah, you're probably right. Exactly. I know people who have actually won some fantasy leagues picking players for various reasons.
There you go.
None of them about how many touchdowns they could score or yards they could run for. So, but no, great run for some of those guys. And look, we know that for any of those guys, Hocevar, Zane Smith, Kyle Busch, they got Ty Gibbs, they got a chance this week.
This is the week for
them. We know
them.
they got a chance this week. But all right, we talked very briefly about the point standings right now, and we talked about who's at the top, and we know that these guys are looking at 2 races to win the championship. But
Let's go to the cutoff
line. Now, I want to give Bubba Wallace a little credit. He had a great car at Michigan. Unfortunately, was a victim of Kyle Larson's spin. He just happened to be right behind Larson, ended up in the wall, which has dropped him 1 point below the cutoff line behind Ross Chastain. Chris Buescher is only 15 or 16 clear if you count with Bubba Wallace clear. And knowing that we could get an upset winner this week at Daytona, nobody's safe. No. Not even Ty Gibbs. I think Martin Truex Jr. is safe without a win. He's probably the only driver that's safe.
He's just close enough he's far enough up to be safe.
Although it's two races, not one. Everybody forgets.
Even if he gets 2 winners, he's 40 points above Ty. So he'd have to have back-to-back, blown motors, which Toyota was doing that right before.
Probably not going to get a blown motor this week, but we certainly know you could get caught in a big wreck early on in the race and make for a miserable night, I guess, on Saturday night. So, but no question, it's 17 guys for 16 spots if we don't get an upset winner.
This week can get it.
But there's no question.
Austin Dillon could win again this week.
Well, you're right. It could be anybody's. All right, let's take a quick look at what we've got for our upcoming schedule. Only 2 races left in the regular season. This weekend at Daytona, next weekend in Darlington, the Southern 500, Labor Day weekend. Of course, the reason the schedule got moved around a little bit because of the Olympic break, everything got shifted back. And then our first round of the playoffs, our round of 16, is going to start at Atlanta, a track not that dissimilar to Daytona now. And then we head up to road course at Watkins Glen and then the short track at Bristol. An amazing first round of
great
playoffs.
First round. Super Speedway race, road course, and then, of course, Bristol. You want to talk crapshoot? I
can't tell you how excited I am just about the next 5 races and seeing the diversity of the tracks. I mean, I think this run...
Scheduling is awesome with NASCAR. Ben Kennedy, those guys, their scheduling department right now.
And hopefully we'll get the schedule for 2025
soon. Supposed to be coming soon.
I think we're going to get it next week. Yeah. I think there might have been a jump of the gun on a NASCAR Mexico website last week. But I don't know. I think we have some ideas. So, okay. We come back on Gaughan Racing. We'll start breaking down this weekend's racing at Daytona.
South Point offers all the types of entertainment you'd expect at a first-class Las Vegas resort. Did you know our 400-seat showroom is one of Las Vegas's top destinations for live entertainment? Enjoy live performances by classic Vegas entertainers, bands, and today's hottest comedians, plus a rockin' dance floor. You can also enjoy live entertainment at the Grand View Lounge, where you'll feel all the vibes of old Las Vegas. Enjoy the music, and if you love to laugh, don't miss The Dirty at 12:30, our very own free comedy show, every Friday night at 12:30 a.m. in the Grand View Lounge. The Dirty is 100% free, so arrive early. Go to southpointcasino.com or call the box office at 77136 for today's performances at the showroom and the Grand View Lounge. When you're ready for your favorite cocktail, stop in and unwind at one of our 7 specialty lounges. There's a bar around every corner, because you're in Vegas, baby. South Point Casino has plenty of attractions for the whole family. Catch a movie. Our 16-screen movie theater includes 2 XD Extreme screens for the ultimate in viewing, sound, and luxury. After the show, treat the family to a variety of treats at our old-fashioned ice cream parlor, Kate's Corner. We scoop up a variety of creamy concoctions, including smoothies, hand-dipped cones, milkshakes, malts, sodas, and sundaes. At Kate's, there's something for everyone. And if you've still got time to spare, our bowling center might be right up your alley. Voted Best of Las Vegas, it's a great place for friends and family fun. 64 lanes, a pro shop, snack bar, and arcade. And while the kids are bowling, you can play slots and sip on a drink in the Alley Cat Lounge while overlooking the lanes. For our more serious and professional bowlers, the South Point is also home to a separate tournament bowling plaza.
We're back here on Gaughan Racing.
Sorry,
Jeff Motley,
Ann, love you.
Jeff Motley, Brendan Gaughan. Brendan's making Ann blush behind the glass. Ann is trying to talk about My Cousin Vinny lines up there. So we have our 2 Utes out here doing this.
The 2 Utes are doing
it. It makes me feel good to be called a Ute.
Ute?
Because it makes me feel young.
A Ute?
What is a Ute? Was that Fred Gwynn's line? What was it? What was his judge? He was a judge. What was his? I don't even remember what his name was in My Cousin Vinny, but I remember it was Fred Gwynn. I remember the first time I saw My Cousin Vinny, I'm like, oh, there's Herman Munster. He's the judge. Because I always thought of Fred Gwynn as Herman.
Absolutely.
Shows how old I am that I remember watching the Munsters.
That was his most famous role, probably.
When I was a kid. Yeah, you're probably right. Well, he was also in that Car 54, Where Are You? That was before my time, though.
But the bad news is we both watched it.
Well, yeah, I did see some of the reruns. But even when I saw the reruns, I thought, there's Herman Munster playing a cop. So, anyway, okay.
We digress.
We are talking about Daytona this weekend, though, going to they call it the World Center of Speed. It's always exciting. A Saturday night race, Daytona under the lights. And look, when we go to Daytona, the first name that always comes to mind is Denny Hamlin.
Absolutely.
I mean, Denny has proven himself to be an amazing racer on these super speedways. He's got 3 wins at Daytona, 11 top 5s, and 37 starts. I mean, his numbers are
How about that? The
amazing.
11 top 5s, 12 top 10s. So Denny Hamlin is either in the front, just like most everybody. You're either in the front or you're not. And there's some guys up here. Austin Dillon has the 2 wins with 9 races. Ricky Stenhouse, Daytona 500 winner, Ricky Stenhouse. Michael McDowell, Daytona 500 winner. Kyle Busch down there, 38 races, 12. Now, we went forever where remember I used to, for 5 seasons, restrictor plates don't talk, or super speedways don't talk about Kyle Busch. He hates it. But he has no choice this week.
He's got to win this week because I don't think
Darlington's
going to be in the cards for him. If he wants to make the playoffs, there's no question he's got to win. There's some guys, though, who have really struggled at this racetrack. Kyle Larson has no wins. He's got no top 5s.
And only 5 top 10s.
No, and another guy who he's not actually on our graphic right now, who has never been very good, Martin Truex Jr. It has never really been, his kind of racetrack.
But now there's a name that isn't on this. We talked off air, Jeff. Who's the number 1 point getter in the last 10 races and has the highest average finish? Daytona only. Last 10 races.
Well, since I already know the answer because we talked about it off the air, I will not steal your thunder, and I will let you.
It's a guy you've been bragging about a lot this year, and we're bragging about a minute ago.
And his teammate just won last week at Michigan. Does that give a hint?
Bubba Wallace, 4 top 5s in the last 10 races. Average finish 10.4.
Then he's second there just a couple years ago, I believe, and almost won.
Bubba has done a nice job of running very well and at Daytona. Now remember they had the Toyota debacle at Talladega where they had the race won and then whoever it was wrecked into Bubba and they've huge debacle. But Bubba Wallace second 11 20 12 5. So I mean couple second place finishes at Daytona. Done very, very well for himself at this place. And Bubba, right now on that cut line, this is a nerve wracker if you're at the end of this. If you take restrict super speedway racing, Daytona and Talladega, Chase Elliott, Kyle Busch, best 2 average finish.
Well, we get into our odds to win the race, and one thing we're going to find, a lot of times we don't have but a certain amount of drivers, and then we get this field bet. Well, we still have the field bet, but there's a lot of drivers with odds this week because we know that if there's going to be a race where we can have an upset here later in the playoffs, this is the one. So we've got a lot of guys who are sitting here at the very top when it comes to the odds. Ryan Blaney, Denny Hamlin, Brad Keselowski are all 3 your favorites at 10-1. Joey Logano is 12-1. Then it's Chris Buescher, William Byron, and Chase Elliott all at 15. Kyle Busch, Michael McDowell, Tyler Reddick, Bubba Wallace at 16. Christopher Bell and Martin Truex Jr. at 20. Chastain, Larson, and Bowman all at 25.
Yeah, I mean, once again, picking Daytona to win, good Godspeed to you. Good luck. Yeah. You go to town and have fun.
You can pick 8 guys, and if you get one of those 8, you're going to win money.
Sure, but there's 22 guys that can win this race.
Or maybe 32 guys that can win this race.
So, I mean, Michael McDowell, former winner here, 16-1. Bubba Wallace, the guy we just talked about, 16-1. Alex Bowman, a Hendrick car, who that he's going to be in the middle of that of the Chevy draft and be up there. He's 25-1. There are all sorts of names right here that absolutely are guys that can win this. Kyle Busch, who Kyle Busch is going to do everything he has to do to win this race. He's 16-1. So a lot of names. And on the second page, when you finish the second page and we talk about the field, I got an amusing number for the field.
Well, and you didn't really you kind of glazed over Bubba there.
I said Bubba's
16-1. And Ross Chastain at 25-1, talking about guys who, I know he's inside the cut line right now, but
a lot of pressure.
He can see the outside of the cut line very easily right there. So, all right, let's take a look at our second page. Austin Cindric also at 25-1. Ty Gibbs, Noah Gregson, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Todd Gilliland, Daniel Suarez all at 40, Chase Briscoe, Carson Hocevar, Eric Jones, Ryan Priest, Josh Berry, Justin Haley, Corey LaJoie all at 50, and the field at 20-1 is all others.
Well, and so these are from the
includes
South
your
Point.
guy Parker Retzlaff.
These are from the South Point, but there's a name to me that's glaringly missing that in the field right here, and that is Austin Dillon. Austin Dillon has a Daytona, has a win at Daytona, has a couple top fives at Daytona, runs really well at the super speedways. You talk about super speedways.
And he's racing angry right now. And him and his teammate Kyle Busch are both running for their lives right now. So, and there's only 8 drivers in the field on this bet, but Austin Dillon is a big one that right off the bat says, hey, now here's the deal. A field bet with 20-1 with the drivers that are in the field, that's actually worth it to me this week, especially because you have Austin Dillon in there. Well, but I think my only issue there's, to me, the only key driver I feel like I'm getting is Austin Dillon at 20-1. And honestly, I'm sitting there and I'm looking at Ty Gibbs at 40 and Stenhouse at 40 and Suarez, who won at Atlanta, at 40 and McDowell at 6. I'm thinking I would like to have better numbers if I'm getting Austin Dillon.
Yeah, but I mean,
20-1.
Look, you're going to have a Shane Van Gisbergen in the field, who is the Colleague car, and the Colleague guys have done super good, super well at these super speedways.
But he has got very little experience on these on draft.
Austin
tracks.
Hill is in the field in a third RCR car in the 33, and he won 2 or 3 of the super speedways in the Xfinity Series, and he's going to be in great equipment. You got Ratzlaff, who's in the 62 car, who's in basically RCR equipment. You've got some guys here that are worth the field bet, in my opinion. Honestly, I don't see Zane Smith on this list as a deal, and Zane Smith, of course, running for Spire, but Spire is a legit contender nowadays. So, I mean, there's a lot of drivers in that field to me that I actually might take a field bet this week.
Well, I can't wait to see you take that.
I might just take it just to throw all you for a loop.
Okay.
I'd get off my 62 number, but I'd be at like 82, which, I mean, at that point, it's just gravy.
You're like, you know what? You're kind of becoming like those Florida State teams of the 90s with Bobby Bowden, when he would win 77-3, but he'd be up 49-3 in the third quarter and still throwing the ball deep down the field. And he's like, well, my 5th string wide receiver's got to catch the ball too.
Listen, your 3rd string quarterback has to throw the ball to that 5th string wide receiver, and they got to learn how to pitch and catch.
I used to love back those when Miami would run up score and they would be throwing the ball, and Jimmy Johnson was a coach at Miami, and they would ask him why he was throwing the ball in the fourth quarter. He says, that's what we do. He says, nobody in the 70s told Oklahoma and Nebraska, don't run the ball in the fourth quarter, because that's what they do. I always thought that was a pretty funny kind of back. But anyway, okay, we're back to racing again. We really do get off the subject every now and then, don't we? All right, let's get into our odds for top 3 this week. We're going to see pretty good numbers here, actually, I think.
Really good numbers here.
I think for top 3s. Denny Hamlin at the top at a plus 285. Ryan Blaney, Kyle Busch at 320. Joey Logano, 330. Buescher and Larson at 400. Bubba and Keselowski and Byron all at 450. Chase Elliott, 500. Reddick and Truex, 550. Bell is 650, along with Stenhouse. Cindric and Bowman each at plus 700.
Right off the bat, that Bubba Wallace 450. We talked about the best average point getter there. He's fighting for that last playoff spot. I like that number. I don't dislike the Chase Elliott plus 500. There's some numbers here for top 3, but once again, very difficult. It's almost as difficult to pick top 3 as it is a win. But to me, pick a manufacturer, and do you stay in one?
You pick a manufacturer, and we find out like what happened with Toyota,
and they all wreck out.
And they all wreck out together.
So I mean, pick one Chevy, pick one Toyota, pick a Bubba Wallace Toyota, pick a Chase Elliott Chevy, and pick a Ford with where's Keselowski? A Keselowski, and you've got one manufacturer from each group, all of them at 450, and 500, and you could win 2 of those bets, and it's still a good run. And those are guys that most likely have a chance to be pushing in that last pack if they don't get in a wreck.
Well, one guy, we really haven't talked about him very much, and I think he's starting to get a little bit better because he had a great run last weekend at Michigan by coming in second. He's only made 13 starts at Daytona, but he's won twice, and he's run really, really well. And that's William Byron. Mm-hmm. And Byron, we talked about odds to win, but Byron comes in here at a plus 450. He's a guy that has seemed to somewhat figure out this style of racing. And I guess part of it is good fortunate that he's managed to miss a lot of the big wrecks. But I love the 450 on William Byron right here, because to me, when they go to a Daytona or they go to a Talladega, as much as we may love Chase Elliott, we may love Kyle Larson, I think William Byron is a little bit of the class of the field when it comes to the Hendrick cars when you go to these type tracks.
Daytona 500 winner this year. I mean, right? He's your current reigning Daytona 500 winner. And if you look at his stats, he's got, in the last 10 races, a second, a crash, a first, a 26th, then a crash, then a crash, then a crash, then a crash, then an 8th, then a first. So if he doesn't get in the crash, he's looking really good.
And there's a lot of guys that can say, if I don't get in the crash, then, they feel like they've got, an opportunity to get out there and win. All right, let's take a quick look at our driver head-to-heads before we go into our next break. And,
you
when we get to head-to-heads,
the top threes?
Did we not finish the top threes?
No.
Oh, well, shoot. I was so excited about William Byron.
Are getting them.
Let me do the last of the top threes. Okay. All right, we got Ross Chastain and Michael McDowell at plus 700. Austin Dillon, Ty Gibbs plus 800. Eric Jones, Todd Gilliland at 850. Daniel Suarez and Chase Briscoe 10-1. Justin Haley is 11. LaJoy and Gregson at 12-1. Hocevar Berry at 14-1. Van Gisbergen, Priest, and Burton all at 16-1.
I like that Ty Gibbs, and I like that Austin Dillon right there. I like both of those. So a Chevy and a Toyota, both of them with good teammates. I like those two.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you on that one. And we talked about earlier about Dillon racing angry. Michael McDowell's another one.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing you also have to ask yourself a little bit is some of those guys are they going to be like, I'm either going to win or I ain't coming top three. The ones that have to get in,
but
like Dillon and McDowell.
That means they're going to be there in the end of that last group pushing. Or they're going to try to be there.
All right. That's fair. Okay, we come back. It'll be
head-to-heads.
We get our driver head-to-heads. We can start on our group matchups. We'll see you in a few minutes on Gaughan Racing.
We have 11 amazing restaurants featuring a wide variety for every price range and appetite. South Point's Garden Buffet has something for everyone at unbeatable prices. Or, if hunger strikes in the middle of the night, join us at Coronado Cafe. The American menu offers breakfast, lunch, or dinner 24 hours a day, plus a Chinese kitchen for authentic Chinese dishes from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. From steak and eggs to wonton soup, it's fast and friendly service 24/7. When you need a quick pick-me-up, you can find it at our state-of-the-art Starbucks just inside the main South Point entrance. Order ahead with the Starbucks app for easy mobile order pickups. Or enjoy your favorites in the relaxing dining area anytime, day or night. If you love Mexican food, Baja Miguel's has all of your south of the border favorites. There are dozens of classics to choose from, like fajitas, ceviche, chimichangas, tacos, and more. And for spirit lovers, Baja's colorful non-smoking tequila bar is right outside. Or maybe you're in the mood for seafood. Big Sur Oyster Bar has fresh seafood prepared right before your eyes. Savor freshly shucked oysters, crab legs jambalaya, shrimp and lobster. Beers on tap and a selection of fine wines are perfect to pair with your seafood favorite. Whether lunch or dinner, you'll love this fun atmosphere, located just off the casino floor. Ready to shake things up? Step back in time and treat yourself to one of the oldest restaurant chains in the country. Steak and Shake, famous for original mouth-watering steak burgers and hand-dipped milkshakes in a variety of flavors. For some old-fashioned fun, try Steak and Shake.
Welcome back into Gaughan Racing. Jeff Motley alongside Brendan Gaughan here at the South Point studio. And if you actually are watching us on the South Point studio, like right before we go into this next break, we get a little ad for like they're slicing prime rib, and then there's Steak and Shake. And of course, I didn't skip breakfast. I've been trying to eat a little bit better. It just kills me because I could use Steak and Shake. I'd love to go get a nice big slice of that prime rib because the places to eat here at the South Point are amazing. So
might have to go to the oyster bar after this. I might have to do a quick run through.
I was actually thinking of that myself. A little shrimp cocktail maybe might be my lunch today. So
anyway.
So yes, come down to the oyster bar, South Point, eat all the places. It's great. Okay. Our head-to-heads usually at Daytona, Talladega are terrible, and this week is no different.
You see, are terrible. That's a very good way to put it. They're terrible, and they are terrible.
However, for a rarity, we do have one driver on a plus line which we almost never get on driver
And
hits.
it's Kyle Larson.
And it's Kyle Larson at plus 105 against Christopher Bell's minus 125. And that's about the only one that I even care to talk about.
Well, and we talked that Kyle Larson has not got a great history here, but it's still Kyle Larson. I mean,
Christopher Bell ain't exactly Richard Petty here either. Just saying.
Ain't exactly Rich Petty here. He's got 9 races, 2 top 5s. I mean, that's still more than Kyle Larson has. So, I mean, it's there. I just
you realize I have as many top 5s and top 10s as Kyle Larson has at Daytona.
not top 10s, top 5s. Kyle Larson
sure?
has 2 top 10s.
He does have 2 top 10s? Okay, I still got as many top 5s. Those Abraham Lincoln. He's got as many top 5s as Kyle Larson.
Wow, we are Kyle Larson, who is on my City Light Shine South Point Champions bottle.
We love
that
Kyle.
was Jeff Motley, Motley, 644-4444, Las Vegas Motor Speedway.
That's like my win-win for the Gipper speech. Come on now, get fired up there.
Listen, that's the only thing you can say negative about Kyle Larson right now. I mean, Kyle Larson is. You want to talk about the most phenomenal driver maybe in the history of mankind?
I agree. And you know what? For the record, Kyle Larson, I'll take him over Max Verstappen. All right, there was a little argument this week.
I absolutely would
I'm
take
taking
Kyle Larson.
And
listen, Max Verstappen in one genre, congratulations, you got it.
Yeah,
I would put Kyle Larson
about 10 other different cars.
You line up 10 cars, Kyle Larson will beat him in 8 out of 10.
I think Kyle Larson could probably.
Kyle Larson might beat him in 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10.
Kyle Larson would beat him at the Indy 500 too, even though Verstappen drives up well because he almost did.
Almost beat everybody at them.
So we love Kyle Larson.
Yes.
I was, of course, appreciate the humor. They're trying to be funny. So
he's phenomenal.
We love Kyle Larson.
Let's go to the group.
Yes, let's move to our groups, which are just about as exciting as our
Group A.
And the groups are just about as exciting as our head-to-heads. In fact, Kyle Larson is going to probably be going to show up in the lowest group that we've ever seen Kyle Larson show up in. To be honest with you, but no enough bagging on Kyle Larson because look, you never
Can't
really
do it often.
You never do rag on Kyle Larson. So so every now and then, I mean, gotta
throw it out once in a while.
You gotta keep it fair, right?
Yeah.
Keep it fair. Keep it fair. What was that? What movie was that in? Keep It Fair. That was Rodney Dangerfield. Was that Caddyshack? I think it was in Caddyshack. We were having a Caddyshack reference earlier. So, okay, Group A, our favorite is Brad Keselowski. Oh boy. Okay. Can't even get through this without laughing with my Noonan.
Punchline.
You want to
Brennan Gaughan. Me and Frank Nicotero next week.
All right, so Group A, Brad Keselowski is a favorite at plus 260. Denny Hamlin, Ryan Blaney at plus 265. Joey Logano at plus 280.
Now, remember, I'm going to go on the theory that we talk about with manufacturers. I've got Brad in a Ford, Ryan in a Ford, Joey in a Ford, and Denny in a Toyota. Denny Hamlin, one of the best here. He's the only Toyota in this group against 3 Fords. That leans me right now. I can take Denny Hamlin. He's the only Toyota. All he has to do is beat the Fords. Those guys have, getting one of their wrecks. They get, one of those guys isn't the Ford they have up front. Then Denny Hamlin has a shot to win this group. I like Denny Hamlin plus 265.
I can't disagree with you on that one.
I'm only going off of that because
I think that's a data play.
Yeah,
that's not necessarily. Although it's not only is it a data play, but it's also the guy who's been the most successful racer at Daytona among all the active drivers that we've got that are in the race. So I think Denny Hamlin, it's not a bad number on him at plus 265. We know he's going to be solid. So yeah, I like Denny Hamlin there too. I don't know that I'm going to pick Group A today, but I like your theory and I like Denny Hamlin there. I think you've just circled or written down one of your.
I just picked my last pick.
You just made your last pick. Okay, there we go. Do we even do the last segment?
Absolutely. Got to let everybody know what because listen, everybody wants to win. They got to follow my bets.
The great thing about making our picks last and you having gotten so many picks right, we know that people are tuning into the end because they wait with bated breath to say, who is Brendan Gaughan going to pick? I'm waiting for the week that you go 0-5 and we get lit up on Twitter for you costing people money.
Listen, even if I go 0-5, I'm still 58 units up.
Yeah, that's what I need to pick Hocevar to win this race.
You need the field bet to win.
I probably should take one of those big flyers just to see what happens. All right, let's move along to Group B. We got co-favorites there, Chris Buescher and Bubba Wallace at plus 265. William Byron and Tyler Reddick come in at plus 270. This throws your other theory a little bit out the window.
Well, you've got the Ford.
Can't use it.
You've got Ford, Toyota, Chevy, Toyota. So 2 Toyotas. I can't do the okay, great. I can pick one because now you have all 3 manufacturers represented. To me, Chris Buescher is the guy that needs to win. Bubba Wallace is the guy that is fighting to stay in the cut line. William Byron, you talked about him. Tyler Reddick, hottest in the sport. This one, I have too many factors of guys running for too many things. Buescher and Bubba are both running for that cutoff line. Byron and Reddick, both super hot, super good.
Reddick really wants that regular season championship.
And so this to me is a tough group because I can't give you the data that says, okay, stay away from this because of, stay with this guy because of. This is my probably most difficult group to handicap, even though they're all difficult this week. This one's my most difficult.
Yeah, and I really am liking William Byron. I also love Bubba when he gets to this racetrack here. And I think between Bubba and Reddick, I think Bubba's probably a little bit better on this type track. So I think, for one, between those two drivers in particular, I'm going to take Bubba because I think Reddick is probably going to be willing to push Bubba and help him out there. Buescher just has not been as strong this entire year. I don't think
he's not. Last year he came on. This is when he came on.
Well, he won at Michigan last year,
but he had that string that was just phenomenal.
Right.
But this year it's been Brad that has actually elevated RFK, and Chris is still doing great, but Brad is the favorite again. So
me, I've kind of brought this group down to Bubba Wallace and William Byron.
Okay,
and I think Bubba needs it more. He does. Well, there's no question. I don't have to think. And no, Bubba needs it more. I'm not going to say he wants it more because I think all these guys want to win. But I think Bubba's a guy that might be a little bit more desperate there, and I like Bubba here in Group B. All right, let's take a look at Group C. And Chase Elliott, Kyle Busch, and Michael McDowell all come in at plus 260. And the big dark horse in this group, if you want to take a flyer on one, is Christopher Bell at plus 290.
290 is the highest odd we have in the groups. So that is your biggest number of the group matchups. Christopher Bell is a decent guy at 290. I talked earlier, 9 races, 2 top 5s. So C Bell, average finish of 19, which you get a lot of that because when you don't win, of course, you get a lot of crashes. So I don't dislike that because it is your biggest return. If I looked at all, including Talladega, not a whole lot better. Still average finish of 19 with one more top 10. Okay. I mean, I'll give you that. You got Chevy, Ford, Toyota again. Got a myriad of them. I think you have the Kyle Busch desperation in there. You got
Michael McDowell's got desperation.
Well, but Michael McDowell also knows how to get to the finish of these things. We've talked about how Michael McDowell, he was one of those guys that used to race in the back with me, and then be there at the end. So McDowell definitely knows how to do that. So I don't dislike McDowell. This is another tough one, but you get the biggest number in all the group matchups if you go 290 with C-Bell.
Well, and honestly, I don't necessarily know that I differentiate these 4 guys that much, and I'm with you on that one. I think if you're going to have 4 guys that you can, and you look at all these other groups for the most part, we're looking at like from 260 to 270 or 265 to 270. Well, here we got 260 to 290. So to me, if you're going to be able to throw a blanket over all 4 guys, and you're going to get one guy coming in at plus 290, I'd go C-Bell here just for the value. Again, it's a little bit of a toss of the coin. I think we know it's a toss of the coin.
It's the best return of all the groups.
Exactly. All right, let's move along. Group D. This is actually a group of 4 drivers who one has had one great win at Daytona, but they've really, really struggled on this type of racetrack. And Martin Truex Jr., Kyle Larson are both plus 265. And yes, I said that correct. Kyle Larson is in Group D. Which is the first time I can ever remember Kyle Larson in Group D. But anyway, he and Truex are both plus 265. And then Alex Bowman and former Daytona 500 winner Austin Cindric at plus 270.
So Cindric, if you go all super speedways, 4 top 10s, 1 win, 3 top 5s, last 10 races. If you talk just Daytona, Austin Cindric is still also fairly good. He's better at Talladega than he is at Daytona. He's got 6 starts, 2 top 5s, 1 win. So he's still good at both. But Alex Bowman, how about this? Last 10 starts at Daytona, 5 top 10s. Average finish of 14. So that to me gives me a look of, okay, well, I got the Toyota, the Chevy, and the Ford. The mix. Can't do what I did in Group A. I take this down to a Bowman-Cindric battle. And to me, those, the Fords, they're the favorite. When you get to the odds to win the race, you're going to laugh. Fords are the favorite. I kind of like Cindric at 270.
I could certainly see that, and I do like the fact that the 2 guys at plus 270 are the 2 guys I kind of like the most here. Unlike our Group C, this is a group with no desperate driver.
Nope.
In fact, Larson is really becoming kind of an outside chance to win the regular season title now
The
that
only
he's dropped.
Desperate is
Well, even Cindric's in.
Oh, that's right.
He's in the playoffs. You know, he had his. He's already. So Cindric,
Yeah.
Bowman,
Yeah.
and Larson obviously have wins. Truex, I think, is in a points position where he feels pretty safe. So really, you're out there trying to collect playoff points right now. Larson probably has the most on the line here because, and granted, he's in fourth place, but I mean, he's still within striking distance of the regular season title. But
there's no desperation here. Nobody. I think Cindric is, to me, just the guy that has run consistently the best here. Him and Bowman are the two, and I just go with Cindric for some reason. I just think the Fords work a little bit better.
I can appreciate that. All right, look at Group E here. Ty Gibbs and Ricky Stenhouse plus 265. Gilliland and Suarez at plus 270.
One Toyota, one Ford, two Chevys, or two Fords, two Chevys. Same thing. I struggle with that. I love Gibbs. You know how I've been talking good about Gibbs. He's on that cut line. He's not on the cut line, but he's flirting with it. I kind of like that, but you know this one, Stenhouse, man, he's that
Stenhouse and Suarez.
Stenhouse is the wild card. Stenhouse, wild card of wild cards at Super Speedways is Ricky Stenhouse Jr.
I agree with you there, but I kind of like Suarez here. Suarez his win at Atlanta. The fact that he has run well each of the last 2 weeks. So anyway, kind of like Suarez here. Okay. We come back on Gaughan Racing. We'll do Group F manufacturers and give you our picks.
South Point is also proud to provide a variety of relaxing amenities for the guests who want to be pampered. Soak up the sun and let your stress melt away in our lagoon-style paradise swimming pool. A relaxing getaway where you can bask in the desert sun and enjoy seasonal food and bar service poolside. And if you really want to escape, come to Spa Costa del Sur. From couple suites to a co-ed wet area, our spa caters to business and leisure travelers who want to unwind and elevate their senses. A visit to one of our spa's steam, sauna, or whirlpool treatment rooms will leave any guest feeling like they can take on the world. Our gaming amenities include over 60 table games and over 2,600 of the most popular slot and video poker machines. We have penny slots, including the popular Buffalo games, and real machines like Wheel of Fortune, Triple Sevens, and Megabucks. If you prefer video poker, try Deuces Wild, Double Double Bonus, or a variety of multi-denomination games. Or try your hand at one of the most popular casino table games in the world, Blackjack. Don't let the game intimidate you. Blackjack, also known as 21, is both easy and fun. And our dealers are always happy to assist. And the best part? Blackjack always pays 3 to 2. Next, check out the roulette tables. Roulette is one of the easiest casino games to learn, and so much fun to play. It's a favorite of both beginners and seasoned players. In addition to blackjack and roulette, our casino pit features over 60 popular table games like Baccarat, Pai Gow Poker, 3-Card Poker, Ultimate Texas Hold'em, and Mississippi Stud. So get out of your room and come join in the fun.
Back here on our final segment of Gaughan Racing this week, talking
My favorite
everything. It's always Brendan's favorite segment. Talking all things that the what's the name of this race?
Coke 0400.
Coke 0400. I keep wanting to say the Firecracker 400, and we had like the Firekeepers 400 last week, and
and I always want to say the rival of the Coke 0400 because when I was racing it, it was the other 400.
Yeah.
So it's
an old person like me remembers when it was
400?
the Firecracker. And I remember when they would run this in the morning.
4th of July?
On 4th of July.
4th of July weekend.
4th of July weekend. And it was like even growing up on the East Coast, it was like 10 o'clock in the morning. So, I mean, it was obviously early for you guys out here. You had to really get up early. I wasn't living on
We're on
West
civilized
Coast
time.
then, so
Monday Night Football ends at 9 o'clock.
let me tell you something. I don't think I could ever move back to the Eastern time zone. I love the Pacific time zone.
Civilized time.
I'm already fretting that next week I'm actually going to be in Nashville, and I'm a big Baltimore Orioles fan, and they're playing the Dodgers in L.A., so if I actually want to see the Orioles score, granted, it is Nashville, so you don't go to bed that early when you're in Nashville. So, but I will be doing the show next week from Nashville.
I'll be right here.
I will be. I'll be glad to have you in the studio
after Mrs. America.
Oh, that's right. You are escorting at the Mrs. America, which is really interesting that you are escorting at Mrs. America. But that's another story for another day.
David Stremme, go Ashley. All right, sorry. Let's get to Group F.
Yes, let's do Group F because people are going to start asking questions.
We're gonna have to clear this up after we
yes,
pick our picks.
Davis Trimmy, if you need to call in.
David, we'll clear this up in 2 seconds, David. Let's keep on going.
Yeah. Okay, our final group is Group F, and Chase Briscoe and Eric Jones are both at plus 265, and Carson Hocevar and Corey LaJoie at plus 270.
If this was any other year, I would lock in on Corey LaJoie and go Corey LaJoie plus 270. Yes. Corey LaJoie is having such a difficult time right now that it just scares me to pick Corey LaJoie. I just can't do it. For me, I'm leaning towards Eric Jones, Chase Briscoe, but then Carson Hocevar, top 10 last week. Carson Hocevar, has been running really, really well at times. Briscoe was 10th at Daytona earlier this year. Corey LaJoie is 4th, but LaJoie, like I said, there's so many things here that I'm just going to look at this and go X on Group F, which you know how much we normally love Group F.
Yeah, and I'm not ready to throw the X up on Group F.
I am.
But I've got, and that's fine. All fine and good. And like I understand you've gotten like 60 units this
points.
year. 62. And you're going to just stay right there. So you can just like stay on your car number or your truck number or whatever number. You ran everything.
Car, truck.
So buggies and everything else.
Still there.
Run. So dune buggies, go-karts, whatever. So there's a couple guys I'm going to eliminate here.
Okay.
LaJoie for the very reason you said. Hocevar, not because I don't think Hocevar is a really good race car driver, but I believe that when you're at a track like Daytona and Talladega, a lot of times the veteran drivers tend not to stay behind a rookie late in the race.
And
I
Carson
think
could get
he
that.
could very easily get freight trained on the last lap and drop out. So that kind of brings me to Eric Jones and Chase Briscoe. I think Eric Jones is very good at running these type of racetracks. Got to be a huge shot in the arm for him that he got his contract extended this week.
Because there were some rumors.
There were some rumors, and now we know he's going to be back with that team again next year. But I think Eric Jones is a guy who tends to stay out of trouble. I just like Eric Jones right here. I think this is an opportunity for him to have a strong run, and it doesn't even have to be a strong run usually to win Group F, but at Daytona,
it could be a strong run.
It could require a strong run to win Group F. So I like Eric Jones here. All right, our manufacturer prop.
Topsy-turvy world today. Bizarro land.
And
it's a numbers game, and it's
so Ford's a plus 140, Chevrolet's plus 160, and Toyota with Denny Hamlin, who's been the most successful active driver at Daytona, at plus 240.
I think this boils down to a couple things. Toyota, of course, has the least amount of vehicles in the show. I just don't get why Chevrolet is plus 160. I think that to me is a great number for Chevy. When you talk who won this race, Daytona 500, William Byron, Alex Bowman, first, second, Corey LaJoie, fourth. Chevrolet, AJ Allmendinger, sixth. Chevrolets were the guys pushing to the front. So I think that the Chevy at plus 160 is a great bet because they aren't the favorite. But at the same time, I don't dislike 240 on Toyota. I mean, Toyotas, they normally do off strategy. They normally get their own little world going. And if they don't shoot themselves in the foot at Talladega, they probably would have won the thing. So, I like the Chevy at 160, but I'm not against the Toyota 240.
So, Brendan, how many Toyotas are in the race?
Total? I think
6.
we got 6 now.
6. And it's 240 to win.
No,
for
8. Legacy.
Okay, Legacy. All right, I'm gonna cut the Legacy cars out because I'm not sure I see Nemechek or Jones winning. Okay, so I got 6 cars. Plus 240 to win Toyota. Every Toyota is at least 10 to 1 or worse to win the race. So instead of picking the Toyota manufacturer pick, I would be better off just betting all 6 of the
and that,
Toyota guys to win.
ladies and gentlemen, on Sirius XM NASCAR Radio is why I have 62 points.
So you're saying that's a bad strategy? All right. Either way, I'm probably not going to pick the manufacturer strategy, but I was just saying
I get it.
I mean, even if you bet 6 bets, at worst, you're going to get a 4 to 1 return as long as one of them wins. Now, I understand you're risking more, but okay. I know. Do we want to talk about the odds to win the championship?
Nah.
I know you only like talking about how well we did each week.
We got to put Frank in last week too. Frank had a good week. Frank won.
I don't have Frank's picks. So
I got him right here.
You want to talk about?
I'm looking at him.
Picks?
Frank got 3 units for last week.
We got him on the sheet.
Yeah, no, he Busher versus Logano and Hocevar because of his high school, college best friend, whatever it was, grade school best friend. So Frank had a good week. Motley.
I did better than the pit crew. Pit crew missed all 5 picks last week. And look at the standings.
Yes, they did.
Look at now. Granted, I got to give you some credit here. You got Byron in Group C, and Austin Dillon, Racing Angry. You believed in Austin Dillon.
Almost had the Gregson bet. Almost had it.
And so did I, though. I did have Gregson. If we'd gotten that one, I would have been in the positive. But I also want to point out in the standings now.
See, I want right now, if you're watching on the, because I got to say it for Sirius XM, because they can't see, 62.2 units up for the season. Do you realize they're in another, and ours is documented. Ours is live. We recorded it. It's on Sirius. Find me anybody in football, basketball, baseball, hockey that's 62.
Well, and look, and I'm going to give us all a pat on the back. Imagine if we were doing these picks on Sunday morning.
Oh, yeah. We had
I think we'd be doing even better if we had practice and qualifying. We knew what was going on. Okay.
But we're all plus. I mean, look, plus 11, plus 12, plus 62 units. That's a pretty, for a little slap nothing show on, made out of the South Point studio. That's not a half bad little record we got going here.
Yeah. I wish my buddy JT the Brick, he likes to talk about all these people on the radio who won't show when they lose. We talk about when we lose. We talk about when we win.
Or my favorite, the guys that are going to give you the pick. East of the Mississippi, he gives you 5 picks. West of the Mississippi gives you 5 picks. And the picks that lose, the next week he gives you the free pick to get you back in. That's how those experts do their little pay for my picks.
Exactly.
So mine, they're documented. They're the same nationwide on Sirius XM NASCAR Radio or the South Point YouTube channel. It's easy to find.
Tell them.
Preach.
You heard it. Preach it.
Amen.
Preach it. Okay.
Go first.
All
You're
right.
last.
Go first. I'm last. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. My picks this week. I'm going to take William Byron for a top 3 plus
right.
450. Like William Byron. The rest of mine are going to go into the groups. I'm going to go Group B. I'm taking Bubba Wallace. In Group C, I'm taking Christopher Bell. In Group E, I'm taking Daniel Suarez, and I'm putting my money where my mouth is. And in Group F, I am taking Eric Jones.
I can't say this is Daytona. You can't knock any picks that are made.
And here is the pit crew picks, and the pit crew and I are disagreeing on all picks. I might want to point out.
One of you will be good, one of you will be bad. My money is on the pit crew.
Oh, they're not beating me by that much. Let's point it out. Okay, I can just use up more time, so you don't have much more time to gloat in this last segment.
I got to fix the David Stremme situation.
Well, there's that. So Denny Hamlin in Group A, Chase Elliott in Group C, Alex Bowman in Group D, Corey LaJoie in Group F, and they are going to take the Toyota manufacturer pick at plus 240.
So I had that Toyota manufacturer pick circled, and then I just scratched it out.
I did too, and then my Jedi math made me uncircle it.
Well, I scratched it out because at the start of the show, I said I like the 20-1 field bet from the South Point. So I am going to put my money where the mouth is. I may be 0 for 5 this week, but I am putting my money where my mouth is. I am going to take the field at 20-1.
First time ever.
Come on, Austin. Come on.
Nemechek.
Come on. Or Zane Smith. Come on.
Maiden Gisbergen, although he's a rookie, they won't draft with him.
Hey, listen, AJ Allmendinger 5th in Daytona this year in that same car. So come on. Give me the field bet. Let's do it. Then I'm going to go the opposite of everybody's theory today. I'm doing the top 3 bets. I'm going to stick with 3 top 3s. Brad K at 450. And then I'm going to the second page of our top 3s. I'm going Ty Gibbs and 83. I'm giving Austin Dillon driving angry, both at plus 800s. Listen, I could win a couple of them. I could win none of them. I get Brad Keselowski in second and Austin Dillon in third. I'm a happy camper. And I'm going to one group matchup, the one that I mentioned right off the start, that Denny Hamlin, only because it's a numbers game at that point. That's the best data I could have. Denny Hamlin, Group A, is at plus 265. That's my last bet. So there's my picks.
Well, and you and the pit crew do agree on the Group A. The field bet is very brave. I would even use other words.
AD3. AD3. Come on, baby. Forget about the. Hey, let's not worry about that.
Forget about that last appeal.
That's right. Forget about the appeal.
Just go win
it again.
Just go win the race. Get it done. All right.
Done.
We have like a little over a minute to go. Do we need to explain how you're going to Mrs. America with David Stremme's wife?
So about 7 years ago, she won Mrs. United States, and we landed at the airport together, and I helped her get her. She went. It's a Mrs. contest. They had like 5 bags, and she was going to take a cab to the Palms. So I grabbed her bags, but as I'm walking through, of course, me being the clown, I'm walking through going, excuse everybody out of the way, Mrs. United States coming through, Mrs. United States coming through. She won. So she called me last week and said she needed her good luck charm.
She was the future Mrs. United States.
Yes, she was. And she hadn't won it yet. So she's running for Mrs. America now. And now she won Pennsylvania. Before it was North Carolina. Now she's up in Pennsylvania.
She gets to run again?
Mrs. United States, now Mrs. America. 2 different pageants.
Oh.
And so she asked me, David is unavailable because he has racing and he's got kid duty. So she asked me to fill in and walk her across the stage. I just said, remember, I have zero taste. You need to be very specific with what you want me to wear because everybody that watches this show
You would be
knows
dressed up like the planner's peanut.
I may come gold tux, gold top hat and tails. And so if she doesn't tell me what she wants, that's what it is.
Okay.
So that was David. Good luck. Ashley, go Mrs. United or Mrs. America.
Good luck to Ashley Strimmy. Good luck to all of you in your bets this week, and good luck to all the competitors at Daytona. We'll see you next week to wrap up Daytona and talk about Darlington.